Hey everyone, SciDiDad here. Welcome back to the channel. You've probably heard of the financial principle, pay yourself first. It's a very simple concept. You take a portion of your paycheck before you pay your bills and before you spend money on anything else, and you set it aside for your future self. You prioritize your financial health first. But here's what most people miss. This same principle is the key to transforming your health. Today, I'm going to show you how to apply this pay yourself first principle to your health through functional nutrition. And the best part, some of the most powerful payments to your health account are completely free. So let's dive in. Now in finance, if you don't pay yourself first, you'll never build wealth. There always will be something else demanding your money. And the same is true for your health. If you don't prioritize the foundational health habits first, you'll always be chasing symptoms, trying the latest supplement, or wondering why nothing works. In functional nutrition, we call this clearing the muddy waters. Think about it this way. If you're looking at your health through a dirty lens, through the inflammation, through the blood sugar swings, poor sleep, and stress, you'll never see what's really going on. You'll never get to the root cause. So the first step is to remove the biggest obstacles to healing. And we need to clear the muddy waters so that you can see clearly and heal effectively. And here's the revolutionary part. You don't need to do everything all at once. You're going to start small and layer these habits over time, just like how you build wealth with consistent small deposits. Now, let's talk about some of these health deposits. These are small, manageable swaps that compound over time. The first swap is go organic, specifically where it matters. And yes, organic does cost a bit more, but you got to think of it as this is your health investment premium. So start with things like the Dirty Dozen. Those are the fruits and vegetables with the highest pesticide load and toxin load. And this one swap reduces your toxic load, which means less inflammation, less burden on your liver, and it clears the muddy waters. So I look at it like this, you either start paying like right now, or you're gonna pay a lot more later in life in the form of medical bills. Swap 2 is rethink some of the sweets. So a lot of people have this sweet tooth, which is okay, but instead of reaching for that candy bar that has 30 or 40 grams of sugar, swap it for options with things like coconut sugar, stevia, or monk fruit. So you're still going to satisfy that craving, but you're not creating the blood sugar roller coaster that impacts your hormones, your weight, your mood, and even your risk for chronic diseases. And here's why this matters, because blood sugar imbalances isn't just for diabetics. The blood sugar swings affect every single one of us. And this controls your energy, your hormones, your inflammation levels, and your long-term disease. The third swap is upgrade your beverages. So a lot of people drink soda. There's hundreds of millions of people, if not billions, that drink soda still. But there's sweetened versions with stevia today and also some of them have probiotics I've seen. But you're removing, by removing this and swapping it, you're actually removing one of the biggest inflammatory culprits in your daily routine. And this essentially is clearing the muddy waters in action. And they may seem minor, these swaps, but they compound. It's like, the way I would describe it is it's like investing $5 a day can build significant wealth over time. So these daily choices build significant health over time. Ideally, you want to work your way to where you're eating all organic and you removed all of the main inflammatory foods. And if you don't know where to begin, that's okay. I would say check out my free functional health training. I'll drop a link in the below the video below. Now here's where this gets exciting, because some of the most powerful payments to your health are completely free. And these are some of the things where I call, these are some of your non-negotiables, right? And these are foundational practices that can really change everything, all right? And the first is you can start your day with 16 to 20 ounces of water, right? You could put a little pinch of sea salt and lemon in there. You could also go and buy electrolytes if you wanted to with Relight, but at the end of it, and I can drop the link in the below to Relight, that's the electrolytes I use. But overall, this essentially what this does is this rehydrates your body after 8 hours of fasting when you're sleeping. It supports liver detox, It provides minerals for cellular function and also kickstarts the digestion. Movement, again, free. So you don't need an expensive gym membership. Like, gentle, consistent movement pays huge dividends. You could simply go for a 10 or 20 minute walk after meals, right, to improve blood sugar regulation. It combines movement with, you could even do it barefoot, which you essentially would be grounding, which I'll get to in a second here. And you're also getting fresh air, which is another thing, biohack, where you're breathing, right? So the key here is consistency beats intensity, right? So daily gentle movement reduces inflammation. It supports cardiovascular health, and it better than if you just had intense sporadic workouts. Tracking your patterns, so like understanding how you feel after you eat certain foods is important, right? Understanding what your stool looks like after certain foods is actually important. This starts to get you in tune with your body and starts you to understand, hey, that food didn't agree with me, so I probably shouldn't eat that at this point in time in my life, right? Until I get to a point where I've reduced inflammation, and then I may be able to introduce certain foods back to see if those were really the culprits or if it was something else. And this is where functional health and nutrition come in, because we really honor bio-individuality, because what works for one person may not work for you or for another. But tracking helps you discover your unique patterns, right? And now we get to some things that, you'd want to introduce, right? So, so B vitamins, right? These are like things that you either buy or you'd get them through food. Ideally, you'd get these things through food. But these are your cellular currency, right? B vitamins support energy production, mood, nerve function, detoxification. Essential fats like the omega-3s, they reduce inflammation, they support brain health, hormone function, and cardiovascular health. Now, you can get these through things like wild caught fish, pasture raised eggs, real pasture raised eggs, not brands like Vital Farms. Be very careful. There are lots of eggs out there that are being marketed as pasture raised, but they're actually not pasture raised. So I'd advise you to look into that. I could even drop a link below that gives you a place where you can actually go look up where pasture raised eggs actually are and how they're certified. Little bit of digression, but wanted to call that out. Leafy greens, nuts, seeds, seaweed, those are all good places to get this. And if you're not getting the B vitamins and the essential fats through food, then you can supplement, but at the end of the day, I'd rather see you get them through food. Things to eliminate, the 3 big inflammatory foods. You probably are not going to be surprised here, but these are things like refined sugar, gluten, and dairy. Although I will say it depends on the person. Certain dairies are actually not inflammatory. So if you are inflammatory with dairy, I would say remove it completely, but then maybe try introducing A2 dairy back and see if that actually still gives you it causes you stomach issues. But those 3, refined sugar, gluten, and dairy, are the biggest inflammatory culprits for most people. And by removing them, it helps start to clear those muddy waters so you can see what else needs attention. The other thing I'd say is here's some also biohacks that you can use. Again, a lot of these are free. Like there's nothing to these, but the first is grounding, or some people call it earthing, where you're standing on the earth for 10 to 15 minutes daily. There's been a lot of studies. I've read some studies that show when you do it for 30 minutes, it actually does reduce inflammation inside the body. So those are very interesting, and I think we're going to continue to see more of those. But overall, here's what's happening at a cellular level. You're repolarizing your blood cells, you're reducing inflammation in the body, you're actually improving your HRV, which is your heart rate variability. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically a key marker of stress resilience and cardiovascular health. It also helps balance out your nervous system. So the earth itself has like a negative charge, and we accumulate positive charges for things like Wi-Fi, electronics, and stress. Grounding literally neutralizes this and reduces the oxidative stress. So the way I would describe it is it's like plugging yourself into nature's battery charger, if you will. The second biohack is morning sunlight within the first 30 to 60 minutes of waking. If you get outside and you expose your eyes and your skin to natural sunlight for 10 to 20 minutes, it does wonders. And here's the magic behind it. Your mitochondria literally use light to produce energy. So you're not just a chemical being through the endocrine system, you're actually a light powered being. And the magic is that the red and infrared wavelengths in the morning feed your mitochondria, right? And these are the energy producers in every single cell of your body. It also sets up your circadian rhythm, which governs your sleep, your hormones, your digestion, and your immune function. It boosts mood by triggering serotonin production. By the way, 90% of your serotonin in your body is actually produced in your gut. Fun fact, improving vitamin D production as well when you also combine it with midday sun exposure. So these two things together, where you're getting it 10 minutes in the morning and then a little session in the afternoon, without sunglasses, right, as well, but midday in the afternoon, then you're combine those two things are going to set you up, right, for ultimately having really good vitamin D. The third biohack is breath work. I mean, I know this seems like quackery. I thought it was quackery at first, but then I started doing it and it actually helps significantly. You could simply start by doing 8 deep belly breaths when you wake up, and at night. If you get a little more advanced, you could do things like box breathing for 2 to 5 minutes. And this is where you like do a 4-second count for an inhale, you'd hold it for 4, then you'd exhale for 4, and then you'd hold it for 4, and then you'd repeat doing an inhale, and you just continue to do that for 2 to 5 minutes. Now, what this does underneath is this actually activates your parasympathetic nervous system. So this is like your rest and digest mode. It lowers your cortisol, which is your stress hormone, that when that's chronically elevated, it leads to weight gain, poor sleep, and hormone imbalance. This actually improves oxygen delivery to your tissues. It reduces inflammation, and it supports your adrenal function. Now, in functional nutrition, we know that stress and inflammation are the root of most chronic conditions. So breath work is actually one of your most powerful and free tools to address both of these things. The last biohack that I'll call is like it's an evening routine reset, as I call it, right? This is your evening like health deposit, where you swap your phone and your TV for a book in the last hour before bed. And here's why this matters. Blue light from screens and phones suppresses melatonin production. This is your sleep's master. This is your like master sleep hormone. So poor sleep today they're considering this possibly carcinogenic, right? And it actually drives high inflammation. So you're swapping the blue screen for a book. Now the beautiful thing is you're removing it, so it's actually allowing your circadian rhythm to work more naturally, which actually means better hormone balance, which actually means better immune system function, right? Because that's where your immune system kind of resets and builds up, which is at night when you're getting deep sleep. And so and then in addition to doing that, you're swapping it with a book. So you're actually firing neurons, which keeps your brain young and supports cognitive health, right? So there's this symbiotic relationship with this actual routine where you're swapping your TV and your phone for a book. See, sleep isn't a luxury when your body needs it to repair, to detoxify, and to rebalance. So restoring normal sleep is perhaps the most important priority when treating like any health condition, especially ones that are of endocrine and metabolic. And again, if you're stuck or you don't know where to begin, you can absolutely use my 30-day transformational reset program. I'll drop the link below. So at the end of the day, I mean, when you pay yourself first financially, you may only see $50 in your account, right, after the first month. But when you look back over years, that compounds into thousands, tens of thousands, millions of dollars. And so this concept, right, that I started with and I want to end with, it works with health the same way. See, that morning sunlight routine that I talked about, it may not feel dramatic on day one, but after 30 days, 90 days, a year, your circadian rhythm starts getting optimized. Your hormones are balanced. Your energy is stable. Your mood is resilient. Those breathing exercises, one session lowers cortisol temporarily, but practice daily, you're literally retraining your nervous system. You're reducing chronic inflammation and you're preventing disease decades down the road. So these small, consistent payments to your health compound into something extraordinary. It's a body that functions optimally, naturally resists disease, and it thrives instead of just survives. Now, the key to layer in these habits is over time, right? So something you may think of is like in the first week, you may do one or two of these things. In the second week, you may do something else. Third week, something else. And by the end of the month, you may have 4 to 6 things under your belt. And you do the same thing for 3 months, and now you're doing probably 10 things. By month 6, these things are no longer habits. These are just who you are. And your health will absolutely reflect that. So remember, in finance, if you don't pay yourself first, everyone else gets your money and you're left with nothing for your future. In health, if you don't pay yourself first, you prioritize these foundational practices and everything else gets your energy, your time, your vitality, and you're left depleted, inflamed, and wondering why nothing works. So my advice is start today. Start small, but start. Pay yourself first. Your future self will thank you. Now, if this video resonated with you, give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and let me know in the comments if there's any health topic that you want me to break down in the future, all right? Let's clear those muddy waters together. I'll see you in the next video.